All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are. This is Cesar Tatabanco from the Global Chamber. And this time, we are going back to our Young Global Leaders Initiative events. We got a pause last year, and it was our intention to really start 2025 with this initiative where we share with young people about opportunities out there and really help them through their professional development and career opportunities, education, and more. In this event, we particularly have the Hinrich Foundation, which is a member of the Global Chamber based in Singapore, and they will be talking about how to select a master in trade program for young leaders and entrepreneurs interested in going through a master. I myself, I did a master like 15 years ago, and I wish I had an opportunity or a tool or a resource like what the Hybrid Foundation is offering, because it really compiles the top programs out there around the world, and it gives you the guidelines depending on what you want and what really works for you. They will really offer you a way to select the right program. And for that, we have today Catherine Diot, the CEO of the Hybrid Foundation, and she will definitely explain more about this resource that they have. And along with Catherine, we got Lynn Sprugel from Abbas Global, based in Houston, and Helmut Schwarting from Market Advisors in Hong Kong. Both have been part of the Hybrid Foundation. They've been working as speakers. They've been helping running programs, and I think Helmut is been part of the council now, and they will be supporting and Catherine in this presentation. We also have Nyang No from Unilevel in Australia and New Zealand. We're still waiting if she can join us, but she was also invited to be part of the presentation. And as a as an add-on, as a fire chat, we will have two young global leaders from the Global Chamber, and that's Sally Aliman and Juan Quintana. Both, well, in the case of Juan, he completed his master program on Thunderbird School of Global Management. In the case of Sally, she's just starting her program. So we're going to get a little bit of their experience in selecting and going through these programs. So without further ado, I would like to pass it over to Catherine. Catherine, welcome and thank you for taking your time to be here with us today, and we look forward to learning more.
Thank you, Cesar, and thank you to the Global Chamber for hosting us today. Your Young Global Leaders initiative is really exciting, and I think that's a great innovation for the Global Chamber. And our purpose today is to help you all as young global leaders think about the next step in your journey of career development, which is selecting a master's degree. Now, we appreciate that a master's degree is not designed for everybody, but we know that in particular in the North American environment, having a master's degree is a really useful way of advancing your careers, building skills and knowledge. So at the Hinrich Foundation, we focus on global trade. We focus exclusively on global trade, but we do it in a very diverse way. We publish research on global trade issues, and we support education programs that equip individuals to participate in global trade. And so that's our purpose for today, to talk to you about how you can equip yourself to be a leader in global trade. And not all master's programs are created equal, and selecting a master's program is a very big choice in your career path. It costs you a lot of money to undertake a master's program, and it uses a lot of your time that you could be using, developing work skills. So we believe it's really important to make a careful choice when you're selecting a master's program. So Cesar, if you put this slide up, we created a guide to helping individuals select master's programs in international business and trade. And the guide's designed to give you some tools to help you differentiate between programs. A career in global trade is an exciting and fulfilling path. There are many of us on the call today who have had careers in global trade, and we really encourage you to think about this as a great option for your own lives. You know, you might choose to work in a global multinational or with a local business that wants to expand its suppliers and customers overseas, or you might be a trade entrepreneur. And so to excel at any of these career paths, there are some skills and knowledge that you need to acquire. And that's what we focus on at the Hinrich Foundation. So a master's degree should prepare you, but not all master's degrees pay enough attention to equipping graduates for global trade. And so we know this because we regularly ask employers what knowledge and skills they are looking for in graduates. And we've compiled this information into the guide, into a list of 6 trade course content pillars. You can see them here. And also we have compiled a list of trade program attributes that you should be looking for in a program. So today we're going to talk about these 8 trade program attributes, and we're going to ask an employer, Helmut, his opinion about what candidates need when from their master's programs in terms of course content. And then we're going to look at just one of these trade program attributes, which is the practitioner professors. And we have one with us, that's Lynn. She's a practitioner professor. And we're going to ask her about her career in global trade and what she takes from her career to apply to the process of teaching in a master's program, teaching students and preparing them for their careers in global trade. And then we'll talk to 2 graduates of global trade programs, Nan and Juan, who will talk about the trade focus of their programs and how that's equipped them for their careers. And we'll talk to someone who's just selected a master's program, Sally, and ask her about her assessment process. So you can let that slide go now, Cesar, because I'm going to turn over to Helmut. Helmut, you've been involved in trade, in consumer products for 4 decades. Not only do you have your own teams that you coach and develop, but you engage with large importers and exporters, and you're engaged with their teams. You've been an amazing coach yourself for many of our Hinrich Foundation scholarship alumni. And you're constantly thinking about what it takes to be a great leader. So let me hand over to you. Tell us, Helmut, what are employers looking for, and what do you think that candidates ought to focus on?
Yes, thank you very much, Catherine, and thanks to the Global Chamber for this opportunity to share some insights with you all today. Good morning or good evening, wherever you are. I completely agree about the importance of the 6 trade course pillars mentioned in the Hinrich Foundation guide, and would like to reinforce the importance of 2 of them, namely cross-border trade in general and cross-border leadership and soft skills required. Now, firstly, I kind of have a disclaimer to make. I'm a huge fan of cross-border trade. I've enjoyed being in this dynamic sector of the global economy for about 40 years, and global trade is huge. It's valued at about $25 trillion US, and this is about 25% of the world's GDP. So that gives you an idea of how much is going on. My personal experience is primarily with consumer products, mostly manufactured in Asia and exported to Europe and other markets. I've seen with my own eyes how global trade improves people's lives, generates wealth, and creates many opportunities for employment. I'm sure we can all appreciate that. Global trade is dynamic, always adapting to new developments and challenges. If you were working in global trade, you might be returning from Hong Kong, having reviewed and discussed the latest toys planned for production by suppliers in time for Christmas this year. We've just had the toy fair here. You might be a US-based LNG supplier trying to find more shipping capacity to export more gas to Europe as they struggle with their gas supplies. You might be manufacturing outdoor furniture in Vietnam, strategizing how you might deal with potential new tariffs in 2025. Or you might be negotiating a new finance loan with banks for expanding your trade with Asia. So let's briefly look at soft skills. Many of these are also listed in the Hinrich Foundation documentation for different careers within global trade. In addition to soft skills, skill sets needs to vary depending on the role you might have. And I think this is demonstrated very well in the Foundation's documentation. I would also like to consider some desirable, what I will call attributes for candidates. Of course, different employers will have slightly different requirements, and I can't speak for all employers. But I also encourage you to think about which role or what type of role might suit you best, either within the area of trade, where you're actually doing trading business, or logistics, or trade-related finance, or trade law, or perhaps even the World Trade Organization. What job within global trade might actually resonate with you? That's something to think about. Employers are primarily looking for candidates with a suitable university degree, with some, actually as much as possible really, practical content embedded in the course they have completed. Theory and knowledge are certainly critically important, but so is an understanding of the practical applications as well as soft skills. Also, some real practical experience gained, for example, in an internship is always an advantage for any job seeker. What else might we be looking for? A natural inclination to be an effective communicator and networker, to be curious, confident, energetic and enthusiastic, optimistic, open-minded and flexible, and able to work with others in a team environment are all important. Many of these attributes are also crucial in any future managerial or leadership role, where being able to motivate, encourage, and lead a team are very important. A suitable candidate will have an advantage if perceived to be ambitious, willing and able to achieve agreed objectives with commitment and determination. Yes, it's a lot. In my opinion, communication skills really is the mother of all soft skills, because whether we as managers or leaders teach or train, explain, persuade or motivate, negotiate, praise or reprimand, encourage or comfort, lead or follow, we communicate with our words, our tone, our facial expressions, and even with our body language. Effective and purposeful communication is therefore absolutely critical. In this context, I'd also like to stress that a big part of communication is the ability to listen patiently in order to sincerely understand, a very underrated, but yet very important communication skill. The communication skills in cross-border interactions imply also crossing language and cultural borders, respecting and understanding the differences, and with a nuanced adaptation in how we interact with each other. This takes how we need to communicate to a new level entirely. Also, I want to mention that as employers, we always seek to match what you as a candidate would prefer to do and are deemed suitable for, provided you bring the matching skills, knowledge, and values with you. From my point of view, in a job interview, it's both the candidate and the employer that are effectively interviewing each other for a good match and a good fit. Yeah, it's challenging, and some of us do it better than others. In this short sharing, I've only just scratched the surface, and I thank you for your attention. I wish you every success with your work and studies going forward. Catherine, I'm happy to hand it back to you now.
Thank you, Helmut. Helmut, after so many years in global trade based out of Hong Kong, you've seen a lot of successful executives and a lot of unsuccessful ones, I guess. So I really always appreciate you distilling down these characteristics of successful trade executives. So thank you very much. I really, really enjoyed that. Now, I want to turn to Lynn Sprugel now. Lynn, you're a practitioner. You've been a practitioner in global trade for 30 years, and you've had some amazing roles in Asia and in the US. And you bring all of that experience to bear in your role now as a professor. And I'd like you to talk a bit about what you've learned over the years, what you try to impart to your students, and why a practitioner professor, which is different from a normal professor, a practitioner professor is such a valuable resource inside a master's program. Over to you, Lynn.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, something popped up on my screen that said unmute. Well, thank you all for this opportunity. And I wanted to, first of all, kind of start off and talk about some of the program attributes, the practitioner and industry experience. And when you look at that, there's really two paths to getting to know the faculty that are in the program that you may be evaluating to attend. And the first path is really professors that are research oriented, and they may be limited in their teaching, but really focusing on conducting research and generating new knowledge within their fields and publishing in journals their articles. So the practitioner professor, though, really focuses and shares their professional experience throughout their career through teaching, with really less emphasis on academic research. However, the practitioner professor usually uses applied practice, so case studies or simulations, to really help generate a lot of good discussion within the classroom. So as I mentioned, the research professors, they do amazing research, but may not have as much industry experience that they can share at the master's level. So also research professors are probably PhDs, whereas practitioners, you may have a master's or a DBA. So while I was in Hong Kong, I lived there for 6 years, from 2014 through 2019, the end of 2019. And I was able to work on my Doctor of Business Administration at City University of Hong Kong. So that gave me an additional experience because we were all practitioners in that program and sharing now a worldwide network of many practitioners in a lot of different industries. So I think as you evaluate a program, really evaluate the faculty that is involved in their experiences, because you may want to be in the oil and gas industry, but if someone maybe just has apparel experience, maybe that's not the right school for you. The other thing that research professors have is really a tenure track. And so they're promoted based on research accomplishments, whereas practitioners usually hold non-tenure tracks. And I wanted to just elaborate a little bit further on things that you should look for in that program with the practitioners. I mentioned the industry experience, but what are the internships that they may be able to offer you and some of the experiences? And are they continuing? They may have retired and gone on to teaching. Are they still involved in their industry? So for instance, a couple years ago, I was involved with the Department of Education here in the US for their Center of International Business Education and Research grants. And so I was granted an opportunity to go to Sweden and study a lot of the new energy and the politics of Sweden and what they've done in some of their climate change, as well as going up to the Arctic Circle. And so coming back from that, we chose one of the companies to write a case study. My other trip was to Israel, and this goes back 2 years ago. And we chose a company called 𝗙𝗵𝗿 Global, and they were a company that had a lot of investment in Africa. And so they were setting up solar panels to help generate solar energy in Africa. So, I think that's important, that the practitioner continues to learn in their field and develop. And through that, through the 𝗙𝗂𝗏 Israel company, we wrote a case study and actually entered it into the University of Michigan, their energy innovation case study, and we won 3rd prize. So we were happy about that, because we thought, we're not researcher people, but we're able to win an award. So the other thing I think is looking at the school, the college, as far as education abroad trips that they have. So maybe not only, a semester abroad, but do they have trips over some of the holidays where they can go and you can meet with the business community? And I think that was one of the great things about this trip that I took through the Department of Education. Was it was government focused meetings, it was industry focused, and then we went to a lot of the research and development companies that were involved in those 2 different countries. And the other thing to look for too is executives on campus. And when I say on campus, it's really a virtual campus. And do they have speakers that come in to help enhance the teaching, as well as, let's see, I mentioned the internships. So I wanted to kind of bring those things to light to you as to, how do I look at it from a practitioner standpoint? I was very fortunate in my career to start out in logistics, and worked in the Port of Los Angeles at a customs broker, and got my custom broker's license, and knew I didn't want to stay in custom brokerage forever. So when I came back to the middle part of the United States, I came back and worked for JCPenney for 8 years. And that was working with their foreign offices. It was working with sourcing apparel, production, footwear, home goods, all different types of products. And then from there, I went to Academy Sports and Outdoors based here in Houston. And so again, starting up private brands, starting up sourcing overseas, and really understanding not only the production aspect of it, but really kind of that whole supply chain of it. So how do you start a brand? How do you look at product development, then sourcing the factories, qualifying the factories, compliance at the factories, and then finally shipping it to the United States or to wherever you're going to be shipping it. So those are the things that excite me about being a practitioner, is to be able to share those experiences, as well as living in Hong Kong for 6 years and setting up an office and the operations for Academy Sports and Outdoors. So, so again, I really emphasize getting to know the professors before you decide on a program, and see which are the ones that have industry contacts that can help you get jobs or get internships as you continue your career, your academic and your professional career. So, Catherine, I think I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Lynn. Your students are really lucky to have you and to have access to all your knowledge and experience. Thank you for those tips, and I hope that prospective students on the line have the opportunity to interact with professors in programs that they're thinking about joining. So thanks, Lynn. Now I'd like to turn to the impact that the right program can have on graduates. And we've got 2 graduates of global trade programs on the line. The first one is Kin Nan No, who studied a Master of Global Trade in Ho Chi Minh City by the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, RMIT. And she, since she graduated, her career has taken off in an extraordinary way. So, Nan, I'd like to hand over to you. Could you tell us what you're doing now, where you are, and how the master's program that you took prepared you for this role? Over to you, Nan.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. And hello, everyone. Here in Sydney, it is the afternoon, so I hope that I would say good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and especially to Lynn, good evening. Thanks so much that, to give me the chance here to share my reflection to the team individually, which made me, very proud. During the time that I studied together with the classmates, with professors, and after that as well. So after graduating from Global Trade Master from Hinrich Foundation Guide, that I have again, I have to be honest, I have gained 2 chances for working outside of Southeast Asia. I have been working with Unilever for more than 12 years. And then, but among that time that I have engaged with only, Southeast Asia markets only. Now, after having the graduation, that I am more confident in, asking for, more opportunity outside. And I got the opportunity for engaging with Europe, especially in the office in Netherlands. And I have another opportunity here working for Unilever ANZ in Sydney. And after, many consideration, that I chose Sydney as working for Unilever ANZ procurement head. And just last week that I got also another promotion, that to be APAC procurement head, including ANZ, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and Malaysia, Singapore. That is really a good sharing for my end. I hope that it will inspire everybody here that for your career after graduate. And come back to the main question, that what is the benefit that I have gained from the program. So, I'm a very practical person working for procurement. We work with numbers, we work with risk, we work with many contingency plan, and that's why that I can have, I can share with you 3 benefits that I have gained from the program. The first is about that I am very proud that I have used my time wisely. During 2 years study, we have engaged with many, outstanding professors, who give us a very good assignment, and also, the engagement with the class, building our network. So I have to say that it's really no single day or no single week that we are thinking, hey, we are wasting our time with this program, never. So this is the first pride that I'm very happy to share with you all. The second, that is about the skills that we have, again, especially for myself, that is about the, diversity skills that we can navigate in the global trade. As you know, the procurement, if outside procurement world, they will think, okay, procurement just negotiate on the price, just negotiate on the lead time, and then contract compliance, and that's it. But actually, compliance, procurement working very integrated into business. We are considered as a business leader for, understanding of the implication of the logistic culture in negotiation with all of the global projects, because in Unilever that we hardly have any local projects, but all are the global cascade or global initiative. So it's helped us a lot in working with overseas suppliers and also overseas internal stakeholders as well, with different culture background. And the third one that give me especially very clear, direction in dealing with the works every day. That is about the prioritization. That we talk about the global trade, it's quite blurry, right? So which is global, which is the regional, which is cluster. But with the program that it provided me a very clear, which business case, which model that we should apply for each case, each scenario, in working together with the business leaders about, which market that we should enter this product, and which supplier that we should go for this product. Because, we hardly can have any 100% product to be provided by the local suppliers, right? So that's why that we have to work very internationally for all the projects, and we have to understand what is the most importance for the business growth. So the prioritization in understanding the factors who can help us to build our product, our innovation launch successfully. So in summary, that I can share with you all, that the first is about the time consuming is very very wise decision that I chose this program. Second is about the diversified on the skill in understanding the global trade, flexibility, culture, negotiation tactics, a lot of skills that I have gained. The third one is about the, understanding the models for each business case, each market, and also each product to be launched in terms of prioritization skills. Yeah, so I didn't want to share more, but because of the time limit, so I'm happy to connect with you all afterwards if you guys have any questions. So yeah, it's over to you, Catherine.
Thank you, Nan. That was brilliant. Thanks very much. Congratulations on your promotion at Unilever. That sounds very exciting to have all of Southeast Asia under your control now. And thanks for identifying those strong skills that you now put to work every day: cross-border communications, market entry strategies and models, procurement risk management, prioritization for business growth, negotiation tactics. That all sounds, all of those skills have really placed you in a great position there, and good luck with continuing your role with Unilever. We're very proud of you, Nan.
Thank you.
On the call today, we have a recent graduate from the Thunderbird Master of Global Management, Juan Quintana. This is an excellent program, the Thunderbird Master of Global Management. So Juan, congratulations on taking that great step of choosing that program and completing it. Juan, you're a trade entrepreneur yourself. I know that's the area that you're branching out into. Could you explain what you've been working on since you graduated, and what was the most valuable component of the Thunderbird MGM that you're applying as you start your career as a trade entrepreneur?
All right. Good evening or good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Catherine, also thank you everybody as well for having me here. As a recent Thunderbird graduate, what I've been working on since 6 months before graduating and right now is to hopefully start a global business with my family. I come from a family full of entrepreneurs, so we want to start exporting our products from Colombia to the US and distribute them here in the West Coast. That's one of the things that I've been working on, and also I'm very passionate about sports and the impact that sports have worldwide. So that's another project that I have in mind to start, hopefully in the long-term run, but right now in the short term, I'm planning to trade our products here in the US and also keep gaining more experience. I'm also pretty much in the job market as well, trying to see where I can fit with my skills and where I can keep gaining more knowledge. And then from the Thunderbird program, I think one of the biggest takeaways that I got from the Thunderbird program was the access that we have to network. Our network is huge. We get to network with over 100,000 alumni that there are over 80 different countries around the world, and they have really good experience. They have taken off. We have in every single industry, in every sector possible. They also they're very passionate about the school, so they come visit too, and then we have the ability as well to talk to them and network, and also the access to great international companies like the Global Chamber that gave me the opportunity to apply my skills, to intern and work with them. And it has been also a great opportunity too, that we have advantage as a Thunderbird student. And then lastly, I would say we get also hands-on job. So we get to work for an international company as a capstone or as a course, and we get the opportunity to apply for it, and we pretty much get over 30 to 40 different projects, and we get to pick the one that we like the most, and we get to work for that company for 8 weeks, and we get 3 weeks on site. So on my experience, I got to work in China, in Shanghai, for 3 weeks, and it was an unbelievable experience. We got to work with a very big corporation that is doing a great job from New Zealand. It's called Fonterra, that is focused in the dairy industry. So we got to work with them. We got to study the Chinese market and the Asian market, and it was a very, very unique experience that I got from this capstone project and also from Thunderbird in general. I'm very glad to meet you all and to connect with everybody as well.
Thank you, Juan, and good luck as you start your career and start your business with your family. We hope you'll be super successful and use all those skills that you picked up from Thunderbird to good effect to create a great and successful business path.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Okay, I want to hand over to our last speaker today, who is Sally. She has just selected her master's program, so the process of evaluating programs is very fresh in her mind, and so we thought we'd ask her what she was thinking about as she evaluated her program opportunities, and also Sally, you might explain the program that you're about to embark on. I think you started in your program last week, so over to you, Sally.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me today. And thank you, Kathy, for this opportunity. Yes, and thank you. You're right. I started my master this week. I started my master with management and leadership at ASU and Thunderbird. The reason I joined this program because I really wanted to get better at leading teams and managing big projects. This course teaches us both the theory behind the leadership and how to apply these ideas in real life, which is really helpful. The program is famous for teaching us how to work well with people all over the world and how to think of a new way to solve problems, which is really important to my career goals. Also getting to meet and learn from people with different jobs and different places will teach me a lot and learn the culture. Which is, I believe this experience will help me, to grow a lot and make more skilled leader ready to handle future challenges. So I'm really excited for this opportunity. I'm really looking forward to finish it. It should be a year and a half. So I'm really excited for that. And starting a new chapter in my life. Thank you all for having me here again.
Sally, good luck with your course program. I hope that it's all that you that I hope it will be. And then, of course, the big challenge for you will be to be thinking about what career path to take after you've graduated. So you've got a lot of decision making ahead of you as well. So good luck, Sally, from all of us.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. Appreciate it.
Thanks to all our speakers for sharing your knowledge. To Helmut, about the importance of communication and soft skills. Lynn, thanks for explaining the benefit of practitioner professors and for encouraging everybody to check out the professors in the programs before you select a program. Juan, thanks for explaining that some of the great benefits you get from a program are the networking opportunity, great international employer access, and consulting projects. Most master's programs have a consulting project component. They're often called the capstone program. And so that's a really great opportunity whilst you're studying to have access to some great employers. And thank you, Sally, for explaining the reasons why you've chosen the program that you have. To all of you on the call, as you're thinking about your careers, progressing your careers, and especially those of you who are young global leaders in the Young Global Leaders Initiative of the Global Chamber, we wish you good luck as you're advancing yourselves in your trade careers. And if you want to learn more about trade careers and what they are, why you might like to choose a career in trade, the things you need to know when you're evaluating programs, master's programs, the things that employers are looking for in graduates, we encourage you to use the Hinrich Foundation Guide to Selecting Masters in International Business and Trade. We created that guide for you to help you make one of the most important decisions in your career, and that is selecting a master's program for advancing you in your career in global trade. So I'm going to hand back to you, César. Thanks to all our speakers for the opportunity to talk about your experience, and we hope that for all of you on the line, this will be this webinar and also the Heinrich Foundation Guide can help you on your way. César.
Thank you very much, Catherine, for hosting this session. Valuable information from everyone. I really appreciate it. But I would like to take the opportunity, Catherine, so for you to tell us a little bit more about the plans of the Heinrich Foundation and how we can, as a Global Chamber community, how we can support you in 2025. I know I've been in touch with Alex, and Alex has been amazing. But let us know how we can support and how we can connect you with more your global leaders, like some of that we had today, and any plans in general.
You know, 2025 is going to be a big year for global trade. With a new administration coming into the US government, there's going to be a lot of changes to global trade conditions. And so at the Heinrich Foundation, we publish a research program that's designed to keep you up to date. So if you want to make sure you're keeping up to date with all the changes that are going on across the world in global trade, then subscribe to our newsletter, because our goal is to help you as business leaders and people working in trade to help you stay on top of the issues and help you with the decision making that you're going to have to apply to your businesses. So that's a way in which we can support you. When you use the Heinrich Foundation Guide and to evaluate programs, we'd love to hear any feedback that you have on the guide and any other considerations that you had in your mind as you were selecting your master's program. We'd love to hear those. So, you know, one of the things about a program like this is it's continuing to improve and advance, and we do that through feedback from others. And if you've been exposed to a master's program that you think really helped to prepare you for a career in trade and you'd like to tell us about that program, write to us and tell us about that, because we can share that knowledge with other people like you who are in the process of selecting master's programs. So, we're a learning organization too, and we very much like to learn from you. So good luck in 2025. It's going to be a difficult year for trade, but, good decision making within your business models will help you weather those changes and come out on the other side with successful business models.
Excellent. Thank you, Catherine. And we got Doug has a question. Doug, go ahead.
Really, I've got one question for Catherine, if you don't mind, and one question for Lynn. Catherine, you mentioned about the Heinrich Guide. How do people get that? How do we access that? And the question for Lynn was, you mentioned about understanding one of the key values is getting connections from the professors, and I'm wondering, what advice do you have for leaders to ask the right questions and to figure that out? That's not something I thought of when I was getting my master's, but I understood afterwards how important that was. So I'm curious on kind of being more proactive about it, what your recommendation is. So however, whatever order you two would like, I'm just curious.
Thank you, Doug. César, could you flash up that slide that I gave you, which has got a QR code on it? The Heinrich Foundation website, which is just simply heinrichfoundation.com, is the place to go for the guide. And here's a QR code for it. You might have to just make that a bit bigger. Thank you, César. Take a look at the guide here, and you can download it, or you can, the most important place to read it is on your mobile phone. It's got a lot of useful information about the 6 trade course content pillars that you ought to make sure a program is offering to you. And then these 8 program attributes that you ought to use to evaluate programs. Make sure the programs are actually going to deliver for you. So over to you, Lynn, to answer that question from Doug. Lynn, you're on mute still.
I'm so sorry. Thank you for the question, Doug. After I came back from the U.S. from being in Hong Kong, really studied a lot of the different Masters of Global Trade or International Business programs. And I found that some universities, while they may have a couple of courses, they outsource to other universities. And that has just been because of budgets, because of students, a variety of reasons. So number one, I found that interesting. But second of all, I think we take so much time to evaluate the program and, oh, are these the courses that I want to take and that type of thing. But I think maybe, and even myself, when I was going through a master's program, I don't take the time to really understand who's going to be teaching it. And it's so important because if they're mostly from the oil and gas industry, which like here in Houston we have, they're going to be focused on their experiences in that particular industry. But if you're in the finance industry, if you're in the technology industry, I think you want to be able to find, if you're going to stay in that industry, find professors that have global business experience in those areas. For instance, one of the universities that I work with, they have a lot of cybersecurity professors with that type of background, but not so much as some of the true global trade. I'll call it import-export type experiences. So I think it's kind of an overlooked area of really understanding who's going to be teaching you, and then you truly want to use their network to get internships or to get job opportunities out there. So anyway, I just kind of throw that out because I think again, the Hinrich network is extremely important. And just for instance, yesterday I had lunch with one of my students from Bangladesh. And during the pandemic, I had to teach online. I wasn't able to go to the campus in Ho Chi Minh to teach. And so he happened to come here to get his master's in industrial engineering. And he's 2 hours from me. So he drove over here and we had lunch and it was awesome. So, now trying to connect him in this community in the Houston area, at least, so that he could get an internship during the summertime when he's not a full-time student. So I hope that's helpful.
Very much so. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Any other questions or comments from the audience?
I think there's not a question, but I just want to add in here that I really enjoying the kind of monthly articles released by Hinrich on the global trade. It's really up to date and also good. Also provide some kind of a little bit macro, recommendation, but it helps a lot for our, understanding about the global trade strategy in from the key powers market like US or China or other clusters. Yeah. So I hope that you can enjoy it as well.
That's a really good point. Actually, I get a lot of newsletters, and the Hinrich one is just one of the few that I really pin and read later on in the night. So very interesting, and at least for those into international trade, it's really very useful. All right. So anyone else? And if not, then I want to thank Catherine, Helmut, Lynn, Nan, and of course Juan and Sally from our team for your time today. It's been very, very useful information again. And as next step, we're gonna be sharing as the recording in a follow-up email. I have the guide, so we can follow it with the guide as well, and link to the newsletter subscription as well. So we're gonna send a package because I was telling Catherine that we got a group from Bangladesh, and I remember now there's a group in Tanzania that were interested in learning more. So we're gonna make sure to follow up and share all this content. And well, as I said at the beginning, this is the first Young Global Leaders event for the year, and we look forward to planning more. I got a couple of speakers queuing up, and so stay tuned for more. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hope you all have a good day and a good year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim, for
Bye.
joining as well.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.